Crypto's greatest story ever told is unfolding right before our eyes. This is going to be the PulseChain ultimate thesis video. It will tie in PulseChain Core Coins. It will tie in StableCoin SuperCycle. It will all come together and show you Richard Hart's grand vision. None of this is financial advice. All of these things can go to zero. If you don't like it, click sell and leave. You don't have to touch it. No one's telling you to touch anything. No crying in the casino. This is the highest value content in crypto. Let's go. The game plan. It all starts with the game plan. Remember, I'm wearing Richard Hart's top hat right now and some mogul glasses because that's exactly what we're going to be doing to the cryptocurrency industry. Mogging them. You should know the game plan for PulseChain. It's all happening. 3 key pieces. 3. First up, we have a natively decentralized stablecoin, pDAI. Number 1, okay? The other key piece, we have Bitcoin. We have pWBTC, the people's Bitcoin. That's number 2. And number 3 is the Richard Hart Core Coins. Okay, there's Pulse, PulseX, EHEX, PHEX, and Inc. Okay, there are 3 key pieces here. So you can see that they're separate, but they're all going to connect. They are all connected by the macro cycle. So the first thing is a prophecy. Prophecy number 1, pDAI becomes $1. Okay, that would be a ping pong, which I have right here. And remember, it's a prophecy. Doesn't mean it's definitely going to happen. It's a prophecy. So why is it important? Where did this term ping pong come from? It came from us. I was the very first person to make videos and posts about it. I got it from my friend Kyle the circumciser. Don't fall asleep around Kyle at night. He's literally a circumciser. Okay? Why ping pong? Because we have stablecoins now. Stablecoins are regulated. They are regulated under the Evil Genius Act. You need to have a bank account. You need to have Federal Reserve reports done monthly. You have to have money stored in a bank account. You got to go buy US treasuries. You pretty much, they're going to be sniffing you in every orifice of your body. Okay? So if you're a ping pong coin, you are outside the Genius Stablecoin Act. Okay? So you're not a stablecoin. You're a ping pong coin. Okay? That would be, that's a prophecy, right? If it happens, it is OIP. O for ownerless, I for immutable, P for permissionless. Okay, that's a prophecy. Now, that would fulfill the $1 requirement, a stablecoin to have. The second prophecy, pWBTC becomes Blackrock BTC price. All right? It ping-pongs around it as well. I'm going to show you why all of this is important, okay? So you remember, you got pDAI, now you got pWBTC. And remember, pDAI and pWBTC, their ratios are moving in line. So there's magic happening in the background. And number 3 will be the PulseChain Core Coins. They pump their final intergalactic moonshot after that point. Now, why did I say 1, 2, 3? Why pDAI, pWBTC, PulseChain Core Coins? I'm actually going to show you why. Now, I don't know if these are going to happen at all, okay? pDAI and pWBTC, if they fulfill their destiny, it is the highest risk. That's why they have the highest reward upside, okay? I've got all of them, by the way. I've got all of them. I don't choose ends. Sorry, I don't go this or that or that. I have all of them, okay? You can decide on the ratio. Some people will choose 0. That's up to you. But all of this, friends, comes from the business cycle. Do you remember this business PMI cycle? Well, pay attention to it. I actually have this picture to show you this as well, friends. And this is very important, okay? So basically, remember, there's global, this is the PMI, it tracks the business cycle, all right? Now, what we're going to do is, you notice how on my cheat sheet for the business cycle, I have my guiding forces of crypto, okay? So there are 2 elements. In crypto, we can summarize for the whole industry as a whole, okay? Remember, summarizing everything as a whole, not cherry picking, okay? Number 1, Bitcoin follows the global M2 money printer. It has 89% correlation. So Bitcoin follows the global M2 money, 89% correlation over time. All right, not day to day, it's over time. Number 2, altcoins follow the business cycle. Okay, so there are 2 elements here. Now, this is what you need to understand. When the business cycle goes down, right, global liquidity is going down. Yeah, they're pulling out the money. USD's become more scarce. Okay, everything's basically getting crushed in price. All right. So you can see we have a green arrow and a red arrow, okay? When we have the green arrow, that is the business cycle going up. All altcoins go up. And there's winners and there's losers, but all the altcoins go up, okay? That's what we're waiting for right now. When the cycle is going down, what becomes king? Stablecoins, and then eventually Bitcoin. Okay? So remember, in a nice, neat package picture, Bitcoin, its movement is explained by global liquidity. Altcoins are explained by the business cycle. Now, global liquidity, friends, what it actually means is when the government prints money, people are storing value using the currency units printed. They're acting like they're storing it in Bitcoin. That's what's actually happening over time. So if we go to this chart, so this is very important, friends. It's going to tie into Richard Hart's grand vision. Okay, so by the end of this, as we continue, you'll see that when the vision is done, every single scenario, PulseChain, you basically win with it. Okay, it fulfills everything. It's literally Hexico. It's like your own island. You've got everything there. Okay, so when the business cycle goes up, you don't need to worry. Altcoins are flying. Yeah? So that's fine. When you do need to worry is when the business cycle goes down. Now, I'm going to show you something. So what we're going to do is let's actually put two rectangles here. So the business cycle, friends, can be actually categorized by, there's three phases. Okay? First is the end of the bull market. The bull market tops out and then you have death. Okay? Pretty much what happens here, right here, right? See this part here? Down in this part, Bitcoin and altcoins get wrecked. So US dollar becomes king, okay? The USD becomes king here, right? The global liquidity goes down. You know, of the world debt, 50% is US dollars. So there's $360 trillion of debt, 360T. 180 trillion is US dollars. So when global liquidity goes down, US dollars become more scarce and prices of assets are going down. People need US dollars. US dollar becomes king. In the next phase, right, what does the government do? They print just enough money to try kickstart things. In this phase in crypto, do you know who's king? Bitcoin. Okay? Bitcoin is king. All right? Bitcoin is king. At the very end of the cycle, or when you have the positive flywheel effect, what's king? Altcoins. Okay? Altcoins. All right? So that is the cycle. So when they basically crush everything, even Bitcoin gets crushed. Yeah? US dollars become scarce. They are the winner. World reserve currency. What recovers first? They keep printing money. What recovers first? Bitcoin. Obviously, we know Bitcoin is special. It's the only coin that consistently rallies in crypto in a bear market. You know, it's special. All right? Remember, we're going to tie in that with pWBTC shortly. And then in the final phase, which is what we're waiting for, are the altcoins. Now, there's a problem here, friends. What I call crypto's $1 trillion problem. The problem is when when these parts are happening, this is freaking, it's been 4 years, man. It's been 4 long years. So basically in these 4 years, people have nothing to do. Everything is wiped out. There's a big bear market. Do you see the problem? So out of this 4-year cycle, 95% of it is people doing nothing and just waiting for the casino to turn on, for retail to come in. Okay? So what if there's a way to solve for that? Right? That's what, if this completes the vision, this is what Richard's doing. Nobody else in crypto is solving for this. Or if they are solving for it, people are making each different solution and they're trying different stuff, but nobody has a all-in-one package, a suite, if you will, okay? So right now, we have the PulseChain Core Coins, right? You have the PulseChain Core Coins. You can actually see, friends, initially we hoped that, Richard, friends, he really did try to get Hex to move with Bitcoin. He made the liquidity tied to US dollar. He gave you staking and yield. Didn't happen, though. Bitcoin is treated by the rest of the market as a risky altcoin. That's how it's treated. Now, it's treated like today. Is it going to change in the future? Maybe. Look at XRP, for example. XRP's been around since 2013. It's been 12 years. The market treats it like a risky altcoin still. Okay? Bitcoin is statistically special. Okay? No matter what we do with the altcoins. Now, obviously, look, altcoins, you're playing for the end of the stuff for the big pumps anyway. They pump the hardest. The problem is, what do you do in the 3.5 years into that? Right? That's the problem. But what if we can solve for that? Here comes the Richard Hart plan. So you have pDAI, pWBTC becoming Blackrock BTC, and the PulseChain Core Coins pump their final intergalactic moonshot, I guess, after these two have actually moved and fulfilled their destiny. Let's continue. So when we are at this point, RailGun technology is superior Richard Hart privacy. So I want you to see the vision, right? So let's say this world does happen. You have a stable coin. You've got Blackrock BTC. It matches the Bitcoin price, right? You get it? So basically, you've solved for... So you got to remember, friends, our altcoins... Firstly, like everybody tried to make their altcoin the next Bitcoin. The problem is not even Ethereum can do that. Bitcoin is Bitcoin. That's it. Statistically, it's special. It passes the buzz test. You can't kill one person in Bitcoin and have it go to zero. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Okay, Bitcoin is statistically special. So, right, we've learned from Ethereum, right? So maybe one day in the future it'll change, but right now, until that changes, we've got to respect it. So that leaves that big gap, right? 95% of the times, friends, 95% of the time, it's just like it's everybody sells, leaves, bridges out, network effect dispersed. What if there's a way to fix it? Well, Richard Hart now has this coming up. RailGun technology, and you have Liquidity Swap being the conduit hub to swap all of your crypto activity stuff. And then think about this in the future. You can get a crypto card like Coinbase, and Richard Hart posts about Cypher and stuff. So you can get this card where you can load crypto on it and you just spend your money. It's your own sovereign money. You don't need to go to the banks. You get it? Now, why is this very important? Because you take profit in a bull market and you keep it in the $1 stablecoin forever and pWBTC. So you can choose your own ratio. Let's do 50-50, for example. Let's say you have your savings. If you have your $1 stablecoin, okay, I'll call it stablecoin, but it's actually ping pong coin, right? It's ping pong coin if pDAI is $1, but we'll just call it stablecoin because you infer in your mind, right, that it's $1, right? And your other part is pWBTC because as the government keeps printing money, Bitcoin recovers first, right? $1 is always going to be $1, but the Bitcoin goes up over time, right? So now, if you had that, you never need to leave PulseChain. Why would you? Everything else sucks. So if this vision completes, right, no more do you have to worry about the 4-year dogshit bear market where everyone leaves. Yeah, friends, we've been sinking. Everything in crypto has been sinking since May 2021, you know? And it's kind of funny. Don't cherry pick it, Soylana. Soylana is going to be sinking for 4 years after in the next cycle. Soylana is going to be in the 3rd cycle next time, you know? So see how tough it is? It is very tough. But what if you can solve for it? You know what everybody else in crypto is doing, friends? Nobody's playing Richard Hart's game. They are doing something different. So everyone else in crypto, they're doing the VC, retailer, dogshit application route. So if you notice, right, when I say this to you, it makes sense. What they're trying to do is they're trying to like make, you know, prediction markets and gaming or metaverse. They're trying to make social, Kaito, all these other stuff, which, well, effectively what they're doing is they're trying to find product market fit in crypto that doesn't rely on Bitcoin. They're trying to get something to have a bid, right, that can like be its own thing, okay? Now, people are going to eventually crack the code. The problem is your chance of cracking the code is less than 1 in 1,000, man. It is absolutely shocking. I mean, look how hard it is to make a unicorn, right? Very hard. And then this is another tragedy of the system, right? Because it's open source, the better the thing you make, like Uniswap, everybody just copies you. And they just take it for their own networks. See how tough it is? It's very hard to get people to just keep using your thing. Like right now, HyperLiquid's going up. HyperLiquid's great this cycle, yeah? But next cycle, Binance is going to have their own DEX, Bybit, Coinbase, they're all going to compete with HyperLiquid. They're all going to eat each other's lunch all over again. Okay? Now, Richard does not go and invent and spend all his time trying to be the 1 in 1,000 guy. He's trying to tweak whatever works and try to see what he can combine to put amazing stuff. It's almost like Steve Jobs making the iPhone. He like combines different stuff and he gets like amazing synergy, right? So you can see how Richard's playing different game, friends, because it's funny. Effectively what all these other guys are doing, you know, like polymarket creators and everything out here, all they're worrying about is, or because these VCs, right, they can't make another Bitcoin, right? They literally can't make another Bitcoin. Everybody's tried. So effectively what they're doing is, if we go to look at the business cycle, they're just trying to make a new section of coins that pump in the business cycle going up phase. That's what they're trying to do, okay? So you got to understand how inefficient this is. Out of 4 years, 48 months, and we've been going longer than that, the business cycle pop-up part, it's only like 3 months, man. It's literally 10% of the time, friends. It's literally 10% of the time, like 4 to 5 months. That's it. And it's done. And then 3.5 to 4 years down again. Trash. Okay? But they don't care. Why? Because there's a big payout for them. They don't care about that. They're happy to do this, grind it out, build something, and then sell. Okay? Richard Hart's not playing that game, though. Okay? He is looking at, I guess, because I don't know, maybe the PulseChain pioneers, could be whoever it is, okay? They're looking at, they go, hey, what can we do in those 3.5 years of down period? What can we actually do? Everybody's trying to do their own system, right? Richard Hart is looking at what already works. All these other guys, they're trying to make something new, and someone is going to make something new. The problem is 999 dead bodies are going to be around. Their coins go to zero. They move on to the next project. And Richard Hart is saying, hey, what do people hold in the bear market? Bitcoin? Stablecoins. Interesting. I wonder if I could give them something then. You see, no one else in crypto is doing that. No one. Now, obviously, there are people in crypto doing that. No one's trying to do the Bitcoin thing. They're trying to make their own altcoin stuff, right? Because we've already tried the Bitcoin thing. The Bitcoin copy, okay? Next thing, stablecoins. It's StableCoin SuperCycle. Do you see how, friends, everyone's trying to do the Tether thing? Ripple, RLUSD, everyone's trying to make their own stablecoin. So they just want to, but you don't get any yield. They keep all the yield and they just go buy treasury. They keep the yield. So they make you a sucker, yeah? Interesting. And there's a blacklist function and they can turn you off, right? Do you see how now, if you know anything about Richard Hart, he makes his own stuff? So if this vision completes, you stay in PulseChain, the Freedom Liberty chain. It's called Outer Heaven, friends. Outer Heaven is from Metal Gear Solid. It's like, you know, they have their own like war soldiers on their own island, and it's self-sustained. So Richard Hart's vision. Now, I'm going to show you this non-financial advice. I guess it'll just be an off-the-cuff example just to show you a portfolio split by the end of it. If you take profits in the in the bull market, you have 33% pDAI, 33% pWBTC, and 33% PulseChain Core Coins. Okay, so that's why I showed you this picture here. All right, if you have 33%, just a third of each, okay, you see this here. So of course, friends, the vision is that this is $1. Okay, so this equals $1, and then this equals, you know, Blackrock BTC price. They have to be in the same price. The core coins will fluctuate. They have extreme volatility, you know, and look. We tried the other route of, hey, how do we make people not sell the coins? Richard, trust me, Richard tried everything. If you're in Hex, you're in PulseChain, we know. The guy, friends, he tried to get you staking, lockups. He tried to do PulseChain. He tried to get you to put your stakes in another area. You're not able to sell. He delayed PulseChain launch. He did freaking everything. Nothing worked. Nothing worked, my friends. And we all got mogged, okay? It was worth a shot, though, you know? It's funny, on paper, it looked like 50,000 things were going right. But, look, the truth is, you can say your product's amazing. How do people treat it, okay? People said Hex was amazing. How are people in Hex treating it? They're treating it like trash. They sell it down 99%. They treat it like an altcoin, you know? But it's not nothing bad if it gets Hex. Everybody treats every altcoin like an altcoin, okay? So, if we do get this vision, this will solidify the PulseChain network value. It's an island of Richard Hart's creation. This is the pure crypto grand vision. No other chain has this on the roadmap, okay? So, remember, Blackrock Bitcoin, the orange logo Bitcoin, Michael Saylor's Bitcoin, it is compromised, friends. You don't have any privacy. You can't use it for anything, okay? If you want to access it, you got to send it to an exchange. You have to send it to an exchange. They have your ID, they have your passport. They can stop it. They can stop it there. If you want to send money to the account, if you want to sell it for US dollars, send it to the account, they can freeze it there. Okay? They can blacklist you. You have no defense. Now, yeah, friends, I know. Most people, you just got to worry about like $7,000. You don't care. But you're trying to have a bigger vision, friends, because if this is your true store of value, right, or it just goes into something big, use your imagination. Don't you think someone with like $1 million minimum, don't you think they're like, huh, man, that would really suck if they froze my money. I better not keep all of it in a risky place. Okay, now about what about someone with $10 million? What about someone with $100 million, friends? What about $1 billion. He's starting to see it now. Getting it? Imagine, another example, okay? You know BMW, the 7 Series, they make armored vehicle cars. You know that? That's bomb resistant, you know? What are you doing? Taking your kids to school. You're going to get a sandwich at the sandwich shop. Maybe you work as a teacher. No one's trying to bomb you. You know what I mean? Vladimir Putin, he would be very interested in spending $6.5 million on a 7 Series Beamer that is able to resist, 15 bombs going off. Do you know what I mean? Like they want. Do you see the point? Okay. Now, wouldn't it be nice if you made those cars? Wouldn't it be nice if you owned the brand and you knew he was going to pay for it? Wouldn't it be nice? Okay, I'm saying to you. So you got to think bigger than just you being a little pleb one day. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So here's the ultimate kicker. Richard Hart's PulseChain community is effectively Hexico. It's a special economic zone. No more relying on banks or dangerous centralized exchanges who get customer info compromised because a worker takes a $2,000 bribe. And remember, friends, I reported it for you 2 months ago. There's a Brazilian worker guy, a random Brazilian dude, work for an exchange. The scammers gave this guy $2,000 to let them into the admin access, and they did. And then they compromised $140 million. I forgot the real number. I think the real number was like $400 million, but even that sounds so ridiculous. But it's true. Think about that. $2,000 bribe to one exchange. That's what I've told you all the time, friends. Exchanges, it's not the CEO you got to worry about, dude. They have these random worker who's from a third world country who's cheap labor. What if he just gets access to the admin something one day, or there's some backdoor, and that's it? They just take over his identity. Maybe the CEO thinks he's talking to the worker, but it's actually North Korea. They open the wrong file, bang, they're in. Do you see what I mean? Too many holes, potentially. So, here's the thing, man. Like, it's happening whether people like it or not, okay? And it's only going to get worse. So, let's say this vision does complete. PulseChain now is mega value, has a competitive edge, and you were here for 10 years. Glory confirmed. My nipples remain firmly pegged. And you can actually confirm that right here. I've got more info to show you as well, friends. So you see how in this system with RailGun technology, RailGun privacy technology, you can load a wallet with money anonymously, all right? Just like how the real world works, by the way. Hey, daddy government, I don't think the world needs to see me hanging a dump every day in a public bathroom, okay? They can watch if they want to, but I don't think anybody really is interested in seeing that. I don't think you, as a politician, I don't think you like hanging poops with the door open either, okay? I'll go to the politicians, hey, come, I'm feeling a bit bored. Can I watch you bang your wife? Right? How come there's privacy for you, no privacy for the rest of us? Okay, so obviously, friends, we know how this story ends. It ends with the people taking power back into their own hands and using technology as Satoshi intended, which is to liberate mankind, not to punish them, okay? So if we have RailGun technology, the privacy, you can load, so you can get a credit card, friends. There's already cards coming out. Coinbase is rolling them out. They accept USDC, whatever it is. They can swap into anything. You can literally just load your wallet with money and just go spend it. Fantastic, isn't it? So I'm just going to show you some nice images and pictures here. This is Richard Hart and me delivering the good word. This is the good word. We are the peg. This is PulseChain, pDAI, the shining city on a hill. Okay, and here is Morpheus. So once you start to red pill yourself like that, you get an idea, friends. We're literally playing a totally different game. So in a nutshell, okay, I'm going to tell you conceptually what this is. PulseChain is being built so that you stay in the bear market. Everything else in crypto, Soylana, Ethereum, every VC project, they are not building stuff for you to stay in a bear market. They're building stuff. They're building hype so they can sell in the bull, they can go and take their 1 year holiday and leave and walk away. And then in the next cycle, they'll basically throw new stories, new narratives, new khara right into you. That's what happens every single cycle. It's a new story, new narrative, new blah, 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 blah. What happened to the other ones? La, 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 don't even know what happened anymore. Polkadot was shield on every single major K-wall. Polkadot launch pads. Polkadot, now you don't hear about it. Soylana, soy. I guarantee you're not going to be spoken about in 2028. It's going to be something else new because they're going to be given ICO tokens. Effectively, friends, you get to see. It's a believer cycle, bro. Yeah. Do you believe or not? I believe. Okay. That's why I'm showing you Richard Hart's vision. If he stays here, friends, it's not just you're long and you want this thing to go up. Like, friends, you literally never need to leave. What do you need to leave for? Think about it, okay? If you sell your PulseChain Core Coins, you take profit. What are you taking profit into? There's only two things you can buy. There's only two things that are optimal to buy. US dollar stablecoins, Bitcoin. If you have pDAI at $1, you're not leaving the chain. If you have pWBTC and it's pegged to Blackrock BTC, why the hell would you go and bridge out to just slow Bitcoin? You can't do anything with it. And then Richard Hart could even give you yield on it. Maybe you can like do a wrapped Bitcoin and pWBTC yield farm, give you like 3% yield. It's a liquidity vortex for everyone to come in. You never need to leave. It's literally, if that pWBTC, if it's actually pegging to the Blackrock Bitcoin price, you win. You stay in Hexaco, okay? So let me continue, friends. So here's some bonus information for you. Outer Heaven, Hexaco. Here's Richard Hart with his nice Hex eye patch. Isn't that great? So look at this. Effectively, you have no blacklist function on your stablecoin. You don't have risk of banks disabling your money. Blackrock Bitcoin held on exchanges is risky. It's not fully your money. If you have Bitcoin, you need to send it to a centralized exchange. It's not real crypto. When we have the tech now, the grand vision puts PulseChain light years ahead above other chains, okay? You literally never need to leave. Isn't that wonderful? You don't need to leave. Now, you can leave, but like, think what you'd be doing. If you're leaving, you're rejecting Blackrock BTC price pegging, which, you know, you don't want to be doing that. Most of the time, you're going to get stuff wrong in the old season. And also, if you're leaving a US dollar and probably you're earning no yield. Tether's not allowed to give you yield. They don't give you any yield. Because that's right, friends. What the US government has done is JP Morgan, they think they're smart. They're like, oh, let's not give everybody yield so we're competitive. But what they've actually done is PulseChain's like a black market, but it's outside the regulation, right? So any yield we give, we're literally the shining city on the hill. You're not allowed to give yield. Tether's not allowed to give you yield, even if they wanted to. It's gold. Now, I even have more bonus here for you, friends. So you remember my two guiding forces of crypto. So this is pretty much what summarizes everything, right? See, the business cycle goes up and down, yeah? When it goes up and we're peaking, that's our bull market. That's what we're hopefully heading into now. But that down period, man, takes 3.5 to 4.5 years. Why? Because crypto, we're super volatile and risky. We need the rest of the world to be okay for us to go up, okay? Because we're so early to it, right? So, but there's a big gap in that middle part. Remember I told you, when global liquidity is going down, US dollars are king, and then global liquidity starts to stabilize, what happens? Bitcoin goes up first, all right? So Bitcoin pegged pWBTC correlates to global M2 with 89%, as we mentioned, and altcoins correlate to the business cycle. Remember, friends, if you have pDAI at $1, pWBTC is Bitcoin, and PulseChain Cores, you would have the ultimate trifecta exposure in crypto as a portfolio, okay? And you don't need to leave. You don't need to leave the chain. So that's why I go through the scenarios here, just for everyone in my text. If global M2 tanks, goes down, your USD saves your purchasing power. So that's why, friends, when we see our chart here, which I'll show for you, this one right here, when you see this, okay, you can see this in the past bear market. Okay, let's actually go up. Remember, this is the global liquidity, friends. Look what ends up happening in our bear market, right? So Bitcoin actually, we pop out before, right? But you see, if you enter this period of global liquidity going down, this is our bear market. See, Bitcoin capitulates down. You can see it. See the Bitcoin candles? It capitulates down. And the blue line is Ethereum. So if global liquidity, it goes up and up and up, but then it goes this down period, that sucks. So you can actually see it on the chart, right? What I'm going to do now, just focus on the yellow line, and I'll show you how when it contracts, when global liquidity goes down, right, this part, US dollar is king, okay? US dollar. This part for like 2.5 years is BTC, all right? And then you hope, right? Because we don't know if it's going to happen again. We hope that the very, very, very end, you can see this thing is actually still going, okay? We hope now we hit this period of point where the global liquidity fractal goes up even more, and then altcoins become king. But look at this, friends. If you check this out, so I'll show you alts here. If you check this period out, man, look how long and painful this thing is, right? Like literally this this, I'll just draw a square here. Look at this freaking whole period. You see that? And then altcoins are only going to be what, like a couple of months? Compare the size of the square. See that? This is where, friends, PulseChain significantly undervalued. What we're doing on PulseChain Pioneers, okay? Everybody in crypto, friends, nobody's thinking about this big square. Do you know that? No one. Everybody's thinking about the little square. The little square is, let me make a product market fit social media coin, a new meme coin, Poly Market, a Soylana application, whatever it is, Google Maps with a crypto token. They're trying to fix for that little square. They're trying to just get out here. Why? Because they get liquidity, people come in, they get to sell, they leave, they come back in the next bear market. You get it? Richard Hart's not doing that. He doesn't give a shit about that. He's already done that, by the way. He's already done that. He's got the PulseChain Core Coins. Okay? What he's doing is thinking about this part. Now, friends, did he sit down and look at these and say, oh, this is how it all works? No. Clearly not, because it's most likely no, because no one knows about this. No one's ever spoken about stuff like this. I guess what he's done is, friends, how he looks at the gaps of the market, what I'm doing is summarizing what he's doing, okay? It's almost like, Elon Musk. Did Elon Musk say, I want everyone in the world, I want them to have a robot lady that sleeps in their bed with them and does backflips for them? He probably didn't say that one day. He probably said, hey, with a car, let's put a battery in it, Oh, and the next phase. Oh, let's put satellites all around the world. Okay, and the next phase. And maybe if you go fast forward 15 years, the satellite talks to the robot, which talks to the internet, which talks to you. Do you see what I mean? So he probably didn't sit down and go, oh, this is exactly how everything is going. It's just what we're able to do is to summarize these big moves by these players who are like what you call visionaries. So remember, the ultimate conclusion of these, friends, you see that, okay, if global M2 tanks, right, your USD, your pDAI saves you. Yeah, if US dollar's tanking. If Bitcoin is falling down, you've got your pDAI, your $1. All right. If global M2 is going up, Blackrock BTC goes up. So you have your pWBTC. Right? And continuing. In all macroeconomic scenarios, you are covered. However, I'm going to be honest, okay? There is one key missing link, okay? Because, friends, I'm very aware of this. You've got to be aware of this too, right? There is a scenario where we all get wrecked. What is that scenario? It's gold. There is a world opportunity chance where everyone in the world exits all fiat and risk into gold, okay? Maybe it's like 5% chance every decade, okay? Maybe that's it. So that's why I'm just telling you, there is a chance that people sell Bitcoin, sell US dollars, sell US bonds, sell euros, sell yen, and they just go and buy gold, okay? When you and I want to store a value, we buy Bitcoin and stuff, right? That's like what the market does. When central banks want to hedge and store their value, they buy gold, okay? Because if you're like Europe, you can't go basically store all your value in the US dollar, because what if the US dollar and you both get wrecked by something? Okay, and like gold is the analog thing about it, is the analog store of value, okay, not digital. So there is a chance that happens. So what do we do in that world? Well, I guess we're all wrecked in that world. And that's why I joke in here. I said, well, if that happens, stock up on cigarettes and shotgun bullets. And if you want to protect yourself against that world, have like 2% of your net worth in gold. Okay, problem is, right, are you just going to hold Pax gold on crypto? Right? What if the internet goes down? If you really think like that, like zombie bunker stuff, you have to have the physical. You got to have a physical safe. That could be it. That could be something to think about. It's kind of funny. We actually have a baby doll here as well, 66V. If world goes to gold, we jump in Pax gold for the win. So yeah, but no, it needs to be backed by something, right? It needs to be have the gold because it tracks the gold price. Now I've got some cute, fun pictures here. This is Richard Hart and the castle. Here we have a sandwich shop working on a pulse chain, right? We have more cute pictures. This is it, the shining city on the hill. Now let's play some Pikachu in the jungle music. You and I. You and I are gonna make it. See, no one else in crypto is doing this. No one. It's not even remotely close, okay? What they're actually doing, friends, is they're all trying to brute force the next product market fit. The thing is, though, this is the tragedy of what happens in crypto. if you make a really, really good product market fit, you have this short-term temporary enjoyment of the cycle. People get to cash out, but then everybody comes for you like vultures. Yeah. Like look at HyperLiquid. Friends, right now, Binance, Bybit, Coinbase, they're all gonna copy HyperLiquid. They're gonna try and make their decks, make a website. They're just gonna copy it. That's what everyone's doing. You know how we know this? I mean, like we're having a Uniswap. We have PulseX, for example. See? So they're all playing that same game. They're all trying to get this product market fit. It works. But yeah, the value is in the community, right? Not the code. So I've read for you now 3 big posts, okay? And I said you should read my above 3 posts to understand the PulseChain vision. Take it from my perspective. So, you know, once again, if you have $1 million in crypto like Bitcoin, do you really think people want to risk it all on a centralized exchange that leaks all your info? No. What about if you have 100 million or a billionaire, if you're a billionaire? Friends, look, you know, if the crypto industry, if we grow to 10 trillion, 20 trillion, we're going to have a lot of people with, you know, 10 million net worth. Do you really want to risk it where they could just pause you at any moment? Pause and blacklist you? No. Remember this, World Liberty Finance just disabled Justin Sun's $200 million. You saw it, friends. It was literally last week. World Liberty Finance, yeah, Justin Sun, $200 million disabled. And he has to write a public essay, still disabled, okay? And they can also disable Tether and USDC without warning. They didn't say, Justin, hey, you know, we're going to disable your money. No, they just disabled it. So, and friends, even with Bitcoin, yeah, Bitcoin has no admin keys, so they can disable you, but it has no privacy tech or any tech. So you have to send it to a centralized exchange and they can disable you there. Yeah. Well, and by the way, if you're trying to send it to a bank, they disable you there. There you go. Happened to many people. Right? They can't disable your pDAI. Now, what about pWBTC? So remember, I mentioned this for you briefly before, but Richard Hart, he can use the PulseX yield farms, okay? Because if he wants people to reinforce like a peg, right, he could have a pair where you have Blackrock, so you can have WBTC and the pWBTC, and they're both just bonded as a pair, and they can give you 3% yield. I just said 3% because it's better than no yield. You can't earn any yield with Bitcoin. It can give you yield. So it could, like, everybody holding Bitcoin and doing nothing with it, it's like a door for them. Like, hey, you know, think about this in a bear market, yeah? You can earn your yield on that. And that will incentivize people to bridge into PulseChain and move around. Or at least join and consider the ecosystem. And that becomes a bear market play if you want to think about it like that, right? So, and that's all because of Hart's Law. So this is your use case to hold pWBTC for yield incentives, okay? Otherwise, you know, compared to Blackrock BTC, right? And as you can see, friends, more and more people in the world, they want access to smart contracts. You can't do anything on Bitcoin, yeah? As the world becomes more complex and more digital, Bitcoin's pet rock, the gap between what it can do and what it can't do becomes wider and wider and wider, right? It really is like that. Friends, it's literally like, look how much of your life right now, you and I use the internet to message each other. Do you know how trash it is to write mail letter to someone? Oh my God, how inefficient is that now? You could still get away with it maybe 25 years ago, yeah, when you had like 56K modem, but now, no chance. Absolutely no chance. Perfect example. As the gap of capability gets wider and wider, you'll start to see more people. They start to expect more abilities to be done for their crypto. That's why Richard's vision to have everything on there in one place, no one else is doing that, dude. No one. So, you know, Richard Hart Liquidity Vortex would give a use case for Bitcoin holders, right? And Richard's yield farm would help reinforce the pWBTC peg. And in the next bear market, you have these as defense for your cycle. You have your pDAI pegged at $1 and pWBTC pegged to Blackrock BTC. And then what you can actually do is you can rotate your pDAI and pWBTC. You can use them to buy the core coins in the next bear market. Yeah. Interesting. You can buy, let's say, for example, let's say Hex actually hits, let's say Hex hits $2 in this cycle. I hope it does. Imagine it hits $2 and it comes back to like 10 cents, right? You can buy Hex at like 30 cents, 20 cents, 10 cents. You can use that pDAI and the pWBTC to rotate in. And hopefully maybe you pay for $10 the next cycle, whatever. Okay? You see how it's symbiotic? Because right now, what do people do? They sell and they leave. And when the bear market, there's nobody left. They're gone. They change chains. There's nothing to do. There's literally nothing to do. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but hey, maybe it's easy. Think about it, friends. If people in PulseChain, if everybody is holding pWBTC and it's pegged to Blackrock BTC, whenever Bitcoin rallies, we are all freaking cheering. We're charging up. Isn't that amazing? Because right now, no one does that in any altcoin. Not even Ethereum. That's why, man, if he pulls these off, no one else has done this. No one. All right? So, and remember, for the PulseChain Core Coins, people who can't see this vision, which, friend, look, because I love everybody on the chain, okay? I get it. There's a lot of spice and saltiness and fighting. We're on the same team. But Richard Hart, Warlord Season 1, he's got the cultist believers, which is fair enough. You need them, right? But yeah, their vision, they think because they have so much PTSD from last cycle, they want to sell and they want to leave. I know they want to leave. I know, not that you, okay, guys, you know, all your tweets, we can see all of them, dude. Every single one of you, I'm not going to name it. All of yous have said, yeah, like you basically can't wait to click sell and leave. I know, we know you're all leaving. But what about the guy with the top hat? He knows that. Maybe he's not going to rotate the core. Maybe he's not going to rotate Ethereum for you to just click sell and leave. Maybe there's a bigger vision. And what a vision it would be if that happens, right? So, wouldn't that be great, right? You use pDAI and pWBTC to rotate and you buy the core coins. Like I'll just show you, for example, imagine Pulse does the Hyperloop and it goes up, right? It actually goes up here. And then in the bear market, what's happening around this period of time, right? Over here, people are using, right? People are using their pDAI and pWBTC to buy these dips. And we're ready for the next leg in the next cycle or something, right? And if people have all the wealth on PulseChain, yeah, whatever product market fit becomes popular in crypto, if it's good enough, someone will just copy paste and use it for our community. Right? By the way, this is how all of crypto works. This is literally how all of crypto works. Perfect example, Bitcoin, all the wealth is on Bitcoin, right? When JPEGs became popular on Ethereum, what did they go do? They made ordinals on Bitcoin. They just put the JPEGs on there because nobody wanted to leave the city. You see? If it wasn't like that, all the Bitcoin guys would go buy the JPEGs on Ethereum, but they didn't. Instead, they bought their own JPEGs. You get the point? So remember, these core coins, like all altcoins, are business cycle correlated assets. And you know they have extreme volatility. But the most important part is you do not need to leave. PulseChain will have everything there. That is the most important theme of all. And that deserves some Pumpy G music. I've got to read it again. The most important part is you do not need to leave. PulseChain will have everything there. Nothing in crypto. So this is the cycles in crypto, right? What the crowd does is, yeah. So we have an alt season. People buy everything. They start going down. People wait until the bottom to sell. They sell into stablecoins and they bridge out and they leave. But the people who still believe, they're still holding their Bitcoin. And then that goes up. And so the cycle repeats, okay? So people go from altcoins on different chains and projects. They sell into stablecoins and leave. Some people are still in Bitcoin. Bitcoin goes up. And then a whole new section of altcoins and stuff around the next cycle, okay? See, you're moving from island to island to island to island to island, okay? Because nothing in crypto has ever had all of that in one place. Actually, I'll go a step further. No genius in crypto even thought it was possible to have all of it in one place. No one, okay? Richard's the only guy in crypto who's even dared to say, hey, we can put all of it on our chain. No one's even thought of that. Because everybody thinks Bitcoin is special because they just say, well, you know, it's going to be its own chain. It's a store of value. It's got its own special place. And Richard's like, hey, Hart's law, bro. What about if pWBTC, right? What if that's bonded with Bitcoin? And what if I give you yield for it? Right? The price is moving. And Vince, I'm telling you right now, Richard's going to blow people's minds. Because he's going to make them think, hey, do you really care about Bitcoin? Or, like, what actually about Bitcoin do you care about? Do you really care about the decentralization? Or do you just care about the price and what it does? Because guess what? We've got something with the exact same price. And it gives you yield in the yield farm, brother. What are you going to do now? You really like your decentralization? I bet a lot of my testicles, all three of them, people are full of crap. They're here for number go up. Okay? If there is a pWBTC and it's more convenient, and the pWBTC, you can swap it around with privacy, RailGun. Yeah? You can bridge it around. You can farm with and earn yield. Okay? No KYC needed like you have on centralized exchange. No risk of it getting blown up by a centralized exchange. Pure sovereignty. Right? It's very Richard Heart-esque to blow people's minds like that. And then you really get to see all the people, hey, what do you actually like about Bitcoin? Do you really like what it does, which is actually nothing? What if I just match something with it with the price? And it's got cool features. And you can swap it around to your shitcoins if you want on Ethereum. You just keep it right there. Very interesting concept. So I'm just going to show you some nice pictures, friends, because we have to manifest big, thick PulseChain green candles. Here they are, PulseChain green candles. And Donald Trump, rigged, broken system. We fix it. Very interesting. Do you see the vision now, friends? This video, it is the most important video. Now, I have to do devil's advocate. Okay, we've got the shaitan here. And there's obviously, there has to be devil's advocate, of course. All right? Someone will say, why would anybody allow people to get rich in pDAI and pWBTC for this to happen? Everybody kind of agrees PulseChain Core Coins, I guess, is going to have some sort of pump. Yeah, but the real risk, because there's higher upside, right, is the pDAI, pWBTC. Well, look, I don't have all the answers. I speculate that the shakeouts that we've seen, for example, friends, pDAI has had biblical level shakeouts, okay, which is no accident. And even biblical is a bit of an understatement. I mean, the thing was literally apocalyptic and it went to zero twice. Okay, it went to zero twice. Now, why? You got to ask yourself, friends, I asked myself this. Why would this happen? Why? Some people say it's bugged, okay? And I say, well, if it was bugged, why did it bounce back then? So there you go. So like, okay, keep thinking it's bugged. I don't care, okay? I'm daring to imagine a world where, contrarian, where this is by design. I believe this is by design, okay? So 95% of the chain, it's actually 90% of the chain believes it's not by design and it's bugged and it's trash. Okay, I think this is part of the design. Now, why? Why do I think like that? It's because I do these thought experiments with my peanut brain, and I think, well, if I have a self-sovereign chain, Hexico, out of heaven in the future, what type of person do I want to hold the wealth and defend the island? What type of person do I want? What is their psychological makeup? Is it someone who sells altcoins in a bull market, leaves and takes a 3-year holiday and comes back after 12 months? Say Ivan takes a holiday for 12 months, come back, and then maybe moves on to another chain? No. Right? And you know, see, friends, most people, they would think like that. Yeah, but that's why most people are most people. And that's why Richard Hart is a billionaire, a multi-billionaire, and trying to become a trillionaire. He doesn't think like that. He thinks for 10 years, 20 years. You don't think like that. You're thinking, how do I turn my 10 grand into $2 million? Then I never need to work and I'm done. That's how you're thinking. Okay, Richard Hart became a millionaire like 25 years ago, dude. 20 years ago. You understand? He's multi-billionaire now. It gets boring. You know, he's looking for dopamine hits in a whole new glorified way, if you know what I mean. So the psychological makeup of somebody who holds the wealth, okay, it's not the sell in a bull market Jeep, okay? And let's go a step further. Do you want people who hold the wealth in your chain, do you want them to be strict Richard Hart sheep? No. Why? Because one day Richard Hart will pass on. One day he'll take a holiday. Maybe he's like bored. He wants to play StarCraft 2 again or something. Okay? If you have a whole nation of sheep, if Richard Hart disables his Twitter tomorrow, they're gone. He's gone, they go. All right? Your objective failed. Everything is for nothing. Now, most people don't get this. Yeah, because most people are most people. Most people just blue pill cucks. You don't get it, okay? Imagine you had to build something that lasted longer than your lifetime. It has to last longer than you. What decisions do you make to ensure it does? Okay? Most decisions that we make as humans, without giving this any thought, we make stuff so that we're special, and when we go, the magic's gone. It's got to last beyond that. Okay? Warren Buffett and Steve Jobs built their companies so they last beyond their life. Of course, there's going to be some magic change, but they do think of that. Okay? So if you think Richard Hart, hey, does he want the wealth to be concentrated in people who literally click sell the second he says, I'm taking a break? No. Well, what's one of the ways? Now he was getting somewhere. You're starting to get it. What's one of the ways that you can test if someone's going to be there without you and really hold the line? Oh, I don't know. Maybe you come out publicly in March of this year and tweet that pDAI is a stupid cancer coin 33 times. Maybe you send the coin down 99.79%. Literally, you send it to zero. So why is that? It's because when you go back up, who's left, friends? The strongest of believers. The people still holding, let's say pDAI goes to 10 cents. Let's say that goes to $1. The people who are holding it, look at the tests they passed. It went to zero twice. Literally zero. Not 90% down, 99.79%. The founder of the chain called you stupid 33 times. You had a Vietnamese kid with his big fat dong and all these FUD narratives and exploit narratives come out, okay? You have all of those. What else did you have, friends? You had meme coins appear. You have Pump Tires launch. You have Richard Hart. He posts his deploy address. He makes the most token, right? For example, if you want a meme coin, here's a meme coin, right? He uses his public 5996 wallet, rumored. It sells pDAI. It sent half into PulseX. It sent half into most. Perfect. It goes, oh, are you a utility guy? Follow me. Here's PulseX. Oh, are you a meme coin guy? Follow the other half. Here's a meme coin for you, most. And everybody who did, they remove supply from their non-believer hands. And the people who buy, they go, you know what? Utility's cool. I still want pDAI. Memes are cool. I still want pDAI. You see? That's why he even came out. He said, oh, are you relying on me to maybe decide that I've got a plan for this? Stupid pDAI. Stupid pDAI. Sell pDAI. Stop buying pDAI. You see? So who's left, friends? If this does work out, if the grand vision works out, who's got the wealth? Only believers. Right? Friends, everybody in pDAI, Richard doesn't even publicly support it. So what's the worst that can happen? He says he hates it again. I've already done that. Friends, if Richard Hart literally says tomorrow, I'm taking a break for 6 months, pDAI doesn't go anywhere. Like, bro, you know, okay, cool. So everyone will be like, oh, so you don't get to fight it for 6 months? Sweet, I'm staying long. You get it? Now, remember, everything I put here for you, friends, is very detailed, very high value content video here for you. Of course, it's all speculation. Okay, I don't have all of these, but why don't I have all the answers? It's because to tell anybody the story would defeat the purpose of doing this whole game in the first place. If the game is to get rid of non-believers and to introduce uncertainty and fear into people's hearts and make them get out if they're not really in it for the long term, for you to tell them the story, you basically remove the fear. You shoot yourself in the foot, right? It's kind of like a fitness instructor. Let's say he wants to give you a grueling, you got to run 3 miles and do 20 push-ups, right? But, you know, imagine whilst running the three miles, he gives you a scooter. It's literally, imagine giving you, hey, you've got to cross these 3 miles. And then he gives you a scooter after the first 15 feet you run. It completely defeats the purpose, right? Well, now you get to see it. That's exactly what's happening here. So this is Richard Hart's vision, I guess. This would be it, friends. Everything's on the chain. Richard Hart. Now, of course, how much of this is complete? There's got to be room for a wallet and stuff out here. Obviously, I don't know. And honestly, I don't need to know. I don't care. I'm just telling you, this is unique, deep value edge. Now, you got to remember as well, pDAI and pWBTC are very high risk compared to the PulseChain Core Coins, okay? But because they have much higher risk, that's why their upside here is 200x, okay? 200x upside, 200x upside, all right? What's PulseChain Core Coins? I don't know, you know? I don't know. Maybe they're 50, maybe they're 30, maybe they're 2. I don't know. I hope they're 100. I hope they're 100. Maybe the timing and stuff, you can think about them, but you get to see, right? Because pDAI and pWBTC have more question marks, yeah, there's more volatility in the returns, but if it turns out to be part of the prophecy, that's why a lot of people, friends, a lot of people holding PulseChain Core Coins, what do they say? They say, hey, Richard Hart, they actually all say this. They say Richard Hart will make a stable coin, but it's not this. It's going to make something else. That's what they all say. They all believe that. Every single person says that. That's why one of my prophecies is one day he's going to come out with a Decoy Stablecoin, or someone's going to come out and pretend, oh, he did launch a stablecoin. Here it is. And I'm not going to fall for it. I know other people are going to fall for it. Okay, you get to see it now. So this is it, friends. This is a thesis. This is, you know, you could use whatever word you can, but now you get to see this is everything moving together. Why this is unique, every other founder tells you the story first. Okay? They tell you the story first, but why is that? It's because the Chainlink Labs, Ethereum Foundation, Charles Hoskinson Foundation, they've already got all the coins. Okay? They've already got all the coins, and all their VC insiders have already got all the coins. That's why you're allowed to be told the story with me. Oh, here's our vision. We're going to get Swift partnerships and stuff out here. Yeah, because they're already in, dude, because they own 70% of the coins. Duh. You get it? So why doesn't Richard tell everybody the full story? Well, I told it for you, friends. I guess there's only one explanation, man. He's trying to optimize the people who are at the end of the race who finish first. Right? He's trying to create Bitcoin believers again. Friends, Satoshi left at the beginning of 2011. You know? Like you and I know, everyone's click. All of you PulseChain Core Coin dudes, if Richard Hart disables his Twitter and says, I'm taking a break for 3 months, you guys, dude, before I blink, you've all clicked sell and you've left. Every single one of you. You see what I mean? There you go, weekend. That means you don't believe in real DeFi. You don't believe in freedom and liberty. You don't believe in the privacy. You don't believe in anything. You're literally just there as sheep, which is okay. Okay, a lot of the world does run like this. But the guy with the top hat who might be making decisions in the background, when he's thinking, hey, who do I want to be holding the line in 2030? Do I want the guy or girl who's just there for me? Or do I want the people who sat through a minus 99.79% drop, okay? Now, obviously, there's going to be glory for everyone, but now you get to see why these pieces of the puzzle come out. Now, all of this, total speculation, not financial advice, okay? That's why it makes me excited, though. If you see anything like this happening on any other chain, friends, please share it with me, okay? This is literally the only video you need to watch, and now you get to see why. See, friend, that's why whenever I hear any KOL, okay, I don't know what else to call it. You are retardio soy boy scum. I don't know what else to call you. You have no idea. Literally zero idea. You're not the hungry wolf anymore. Most of you are washed up. You're rugging stuff. You're shilling 1% win rate garbage on these freaking centralized exchanges. You are nowhere near. You guys are fallen way off your peak a long, long, long time ago. You have no idea about the heartbeat and the pulse, pun intended, about the market. You have no idea how to speak to the people. You've completely lost touch. You are Hillary Clinton in 2016. Okay? You are Joe Biden, Kamala Harris's team in 2024. That's what you are. Yeah, because I know I say that because I know that you understand what that means. You've totally lost touch. You have no idea what the hell's going on, okay? And I think the most embarrassing thing for all of them is if what I'm saying is just half true. Because they have a video, they have a fluffy microphone guy, they have thousands of passionate people, they have a story, consistency. It all makes sense in hindsight. The only thing that's missing is the big fat green candle. That's literally the only thing. I'm excited. Are you excited? Like, subscribe, belly button, all. Catch you soon.